Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are, you know who we are, the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Kristin.
Good evening, Susette.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Well, I just saw, I was, driving here to the studio. The leaves are changing.
Yes. You know what? I said goodbye to summer. Goodbye, summer.
You did?
Yes. I love September and October here.
Okay.
I go to BF Clyde's and they have that
Well, I do
cider.
that too. Well, no. Okay. Yes. But the donuts.
Oh, the donuts.
With the cider.
Yeah.
Yes, those.
It's so New England.
It is New England, but saying goodbye to summer?
I did. I said goodbye. I went to the beach and I said goodbye. So I'm excited. Plus, you know what else?
What?
October is a great month for membership at the Mystic Chamber of Commerce.
Are we driving?
We do. We have a membership drive. So, first of all, if you're already a member, if you refer somebody who isn't a member, you get in a drawing for a special prize. Most likely, it has something to do with Foxwoods.
Well, I'm glad you told me that now because our first guest, I'm not going to say anything yet till we get past, but is he already a member?
He is already a member.
Can I say he's not and then put him in?
No, you can't.
All right, because he is a friend.
But if anybody out there is watching that isn't a member, we're doing a membership drive on the 17th and 18th, and we're going to be offering specials like 1 month free and, maybe a T-shirt or that kind of thing. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a good time to join. And our theme is a little help from your friends.
I love it.
The chamber is your friend, and your colleagues and your neighbors are your friend.
The community is our friend.
And the community is your friend.
Yeah, I like that.
Like our guest today.
Yeah.
Part of the community, your friend.
Yes.
And mine, eventually, after the show's over.
Well, he did sign up for the membership drive, so, the membership thing.
Yes.
Yes, so I guess I can do the honors and welcome this evening's guest, Mike Mondello. So, welcome, Mike.
Welcome, Susette.
There's a couple, and we were laughing when the show first came on, and I said, geez, how do we introduce Mike Mondello, because he wears so many different hats, and so I'm going to kind of give you the hats that I know of, and that's my friend. Okay, he's a friend of mine, and soon to be Kristin's friend. And then he's Mike Mondello from Mystic Financial Group, and thank you very much, Mike, and thank you for your membership. But then you also are who? This evening, this hat.
This hat. So I'm Noble Grand of Stonington Lodge number 26.
I love that. I think that should come with some kind of soundtrack. Like there should be a little trumpet toot.
Yeah.
Noble Grand.
So that's fine, Michael, but what is Noble Lodge whatever?
Yeah, all right. Well, this is our bicentennial year for the U.S., so that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Oddfellows goes back, 1600s. England originally. It's an international organization. It's a fraternal organization.
Yes.
And back in those days, they would do things like take care of widows and orphans, and that was peculiar or odd, and they became known as the Oddfellows. So that's Oddfellows. So we try to carry in that, relieve the distressed. And
Yeah. So, did you know that?
I didn't realize that was why it was called the Oddfellows.
Yeah. And I don't think probably this audience, many people do.
Nobody does.
So it's like a philanthropic organization?
Yeah, I would consider that's what we do now. But it's an
right.
organization, and we'll do it. We have philanthropic means currently as Stonington Lodge, but we do a lot of things that require, hands-on, people doing things in the community. So
from what I remember, and going way back in the history of the Oddfellows, it really was established for a need, and it happened to be in the most particular things that was needed way back, way back then. And so now it has grown. There was really no need to rename it because it was a name that's it's kind of like Post-it or Kleenex. So it was a branding name, and then it was continued on in sort of these little pockets like this lodge and that lodge.
And it's international.
Yes.
Philippines.
Yes, absolutely. Very prevalent in the Philippines.
That's right.
Yes.
And you say fraternal, so does that mean that only men can join, or no?
No, not at all. That's the roots.
Right.
But we actually have more women than men in our particular lodge, so that are active. So,
but what does the lodge do?
Well, we meet bi-monthly, so we kind of get together bi-monthly, and then we kind of decide. Different people have different things that they've come up with over the years. So, for example, when Anita and Charlie Beebe were alive, they formed this Christmas party. And this is a really neat thing. We go to social services every year. We have 55 children come. Santa Claus arrives. We have UConn students come down and do crafts with the children. We have clowns come in. And some of the responses we've gotten from that, each child gets 2 gifts, and then they get a stocking. They sit on Santa's lap. And some of the responses we've gotten from social services for this program, it's about 55 children every year. And that was just started by 2 Oddfellows, right? And then we just continue it. They're no longer here, but we continue that, as a lodge.
And that's every year?
It's every year.
Okay.
Every year we do it in December. It might be the 14th this year. I think it's the 14th, actually, of December. It's a Saturday. And then the night before, we have the wrapping party. We get some pizza, and then all kinds of people from residents of Fairview come. The lodge comes together, and we'll wrap the presents. People have shopped for maybe a month and a half before and bought the presents because each of the children requests what they would want. And some of the responses we had one child, I think the comment was from social services that it was magical. And that was I know, isn't that something?
Yeah.
A 4-year-old, we got a comment from a grandparent. A 4-year-old said, "There is a Santa Claus. We were just at the North Pole and we saw the real Santa Claus." So it's pretty neat.
There isn't a Santa Claus?
No, there is.
I was going to say,
we have Santa Claus.
Please don't talk about it. There's not a Santa Claus, Kristin.
Is there a Santa Claus in this room?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a Santa Claus, right?
Yeah. And then then we do other things. So on a philanthropic note, we give scholarships. I think it was $26,000 last year in scholarships, and it went to 3 of the local schools: Fitch, Grasso, Stonington, and then 1 other scholarship.
So what are the criteria for the scholarship?
Yeah, that's a fine question. We have a scholarship committee.
Okay.
And they have the criteria, and I'm not on the scholarship committee.
Okay.
But it's definitely need-based as a portion of it. Then I don't have the listing, but that's a really
people
good question.
People get nominated from their guidance counselors or their teachers,
Yeah,
etc.
and people can apply, and we get quite a few applications from each school. Some years more than others. One year, one school, we had over 50 applications. So
wow,
it's $2,000
right
per scholarship. I mean, it's
anything helps today.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
We have a picture of that actually, of the recipients. Spencer, help us out. Yeah, there on the right.
Wow.
With the ceremony. And then in the middle is a picture of Dave Brown, who is an Oddfellow.
Yeah.
With myself and Lauren in front of the Welcome Center accepting a sponsor check for the Work It program for the Mystic Chamber.
Right.
So the Oddfellows support that as well. And that has to do with high school students and teaching soft skills. And that other picture was of the second year that they supported that. So thank you so much for doing that.
Sure, it's our pleasure.
Huge help. And that's Peggy, our president, accepting the check for the second year. So we print booklets that help the kids, like stuff that doesn't get done in the workshop. There's a booklet that has 3 pages on how to get your driver's license, because we found out that young kids didn't have their driver's license till they were like 25 or something. All these things we're learning about kids that are coming out of high school now and entering the workforce. We're trying to give them some resources. So you guys have helped with that. Yeah. So
that's a neat program. We're all over that. And we were so happy with how it came out. And we were so thrilled to see the first year in particular that there was a job fair. Yeah. And what was the number? Do you have the number of participants?
It was like there was 49 kids that ended up getting a job that summer. And so our members reached out to us and said, we said, what can we do for you? And they said, you got to teach these kids customer service skills because they're coming in, they're working here, and they're still on their phones or whatever. And they needed summer help. So the retail and the hospitality in the Mystic area.
Right.
And so that's how the idea of the program came about. And then
especially in our industry.
Yeah. So 49 kids got jobs, and the way that I think of it too is like there was probably about 10 employers that ended up getting employees.
Right. And the nice part of it, and also, Mike, with the Oddfellows help as well. Some of these kids, and I just want to say this out there, I just had this discussion prior to the TV show, that skill set needed for when these kids come out of high school sometimes is that gap before they even get into college. Mm-hmm. But it's also it's a skill set that they may want to just take and not go to college. But they still need that skill set. Mm-hmm. And if they can get into those programs, and if the chamber and with the help of the organizations like Oddfellows, help with funding it, then you're getting, especially in Mystic, Connecticut, we're such a hospitality and tourism industry, very, very important with our restaurants, with our retail stores. So it's just a great connection, a great program all the way around.
Now, is Oddfellows also, is it faith-based as well, or is it just?
I would say it's not a particular faith. Mm-hmm. So there's there's a belief in God, but there's no particular.
Right, right. That's probably how it started.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's welcoming of all faiths.
Correct. Oh, absolutely correct. And it's what's interesting is there are many Jewish lodges, for example. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It doesn't matter
Right.
right.
Now, as the Noble Grand, do you wear like a big hat, or do you have a ceremonial purpose?
Well, those things exist. Yeah. I've never worn a hat, but I'll wear there's like a necklace jewel thing that during meetings we'll wear it. So we try to keep as much tradition as we can without.
Right.
So I like to keep the tradition personally, but then, they're
like
pretty low key. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that tradition.
Is there a song you sing, or can you share that with us?
I mean, there probably is a song, but we don't sing any songs.
Right. So what is the overall mission, Michael?
Well, it's the relieve the distressed is big. Mm-hmm. So in some circumstances, we've done things with Always Home, for example.
Right.
That's why we do the social services with the children. Educate, like one of the tenets was educate the orphan, because that's what was, back in the 16, 17, 1800s. It was orphans. Well, we just carry it forward. It's children, right? So scholarship is a big thing that we do. But there are other things. So under Relieve the Distress, Oddfellows does the governance for Fairview. Our life care community, right, that's there. Right. That's actually Oddfellows. That's the governing board of Fairview. So we have a continuing care community, we have a skilled nursing facility, and then we have, a life plan community. So, that was Oddfellows. That was Oddfellows one time, right? So
that was Oddfellows.
That's right. That's all it was, and then it became a 501c3, and everybody's welcome, and that's
right. And that's where the Fairview.
But there is a separation between my role as Noble Grand of Stonington Lodge that really has nothing to do
with
Fairview.
Right.
Right. Oddfellows happen to be the governing board through Oddfellows of Connecticut. Mm-hmm. We happen to meet in Fairview because it's convenient and it works out, and but we're our own separate lodge entity, correct?
Well, and you don't have to live in Stonington or Groton. It doesn't matter. You can be living anywhere. And so, do you think you cover, like, what kind of territory do you cover as far as your philanthropy goes, or your events? Is it just Groton?
We do different things, and it really depends on what people in the lodge want to do. So, for example, we do support a number of Indian children in Arizona, in Snowflake, Arizona. So it came to our attention many years ago. It's a problem. It's our country. There's dirt floors. There's tin shacks. It's a crazy thing, but there's a really cool couple of folks out there that they drive in like 100 miles through like crazy terrain. And they go in there and they've built a school. They've done a bunch of different things. And it's pretty cool. I could remember giving stuffed animals one year specifically over the holiday time because that's what the kids use as pillows. I mean, it's a crazy kind of thing, but that's in the U.S., so that's one of the things we've been able to
help
to do, and we know that it's helping.
Right.
Right. There are a lot of things you can do that you could throw money at things that don't necessarily help. That's
but you see the need right away, and you can see your resources.
You can see it, right. If you don't mind, I'm going to look at my phone because Kim, our secretary, she's way better than me. She actually put some things so that maybe I don't forget. Right. So we've got.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I never.
So we've had Fidelco guide dogs come in, and we've done some stuff. We've had kids from Fitch do a robotics program, and we helped to support that. That was really cool because like the older kids that are in high school are helping young kids in the elementary schools. And then they're going out and doing all this cool STEM stuff. And this particular, this is local. This is like a local school, but we've had them come in.
I heard that they didn't Fitch win a competition.
I believe they did.
They did.
Isn't that cool?
Fitch did.
Yeah, but it's probably these folks. It's really, really cool, and it was neat to see.
Right.
It was neat to see the robots doing all this stuff. Ace Aviation is another one. I have an acquaintance of mine who's coming in to talk about Veterans Base Camp. That's veterans helping younger folks. So it's kind of
good for the veterans.
It's good for exactly. It's cool that we haven't done anything yet, but we're bringing in somebody to speak, and then you never know. It can become part of our philanthropic things that we do. We have a camp up in Maine, Camp Neova. We used to send children up to that camp. It became logistically difficult, but it's a really great camp up in Maine. And what we've done, just because it's easier for us being where we are, we send children every year to 4-H camp. We have a pilgrimage for youth. That's pretty cool. The people go to the United Nations. It's like a couple of weeks. Go to the United Nations. They go to Parliament in Canada.
Wow!
And it's a neat program and the kids bond. Like one time, I ended up through a friend of mine, Wade. We took a group of kids to a concert. Okay. But there were one of the children in the back seat of the car was the grandson of an Oddfellow, and we got into a conversation, and he's talking about that he's still in touch with the people from the pilgrimage for youth, and they all bonded over 2 weeks, and they had a wonderful time, and they learned about governments, and it was really 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 a neat thing, for them.
Right.
Going to the UN, going down to DC, and going to the Canadian Parliament. But that's an Oddfellows thing, and we'll send 1 or 2 local children. You know what's interesting? It's hard getting children to go. There's just something about. I mean, like we reach out, and it's an interesting thing. So maybe if people can know about that, and it gets into the schools. It's a really neat thing
to go to that program.
To go to the program.
I know you're talking about it.
Right. It's has value.
So why do you think it's hard?
It's a couple of weeks, and nobody knows who we are.
Right.
I think you're right.
Well, you know what? This is the reason why you're here. And you can see all of the information. It's interesting that you say that because when I was coming here, I said to my husband, "Well, Michael's on the show today." He always says, "Well, who's on the show?" Carla tells me who's on the show because you're very good, Kristin, of getting the information out. So my husband said,
Smoke signals.
Right. What is Michael talking about? And I said, so he goes, well, do people even know about the Oddfellows? And I thought, well, I do. I know Kristin does. But you're right. And so the importance of coming on Mystic Matters and actually saying what the Oddfellows do. I've got a question, though. So all these philanthropic or these people, these organizations come to you. There's a board, right? Or is there
we have a
membership?
Lodge. We have a lodge,
okay.
And the lodge has a membership.
Okay.
And the membership all votes.
That's what I was going to say. So everybody comes or brings their requests in, and then the membership votes.
Correct.
Okay.
And anybody can become a member. So there's you can become a member. So that's there's annual dues of $40 or something. It's very expensive.
Right. So you just become a member. You run the meeting. There's a certain amount of meetings that has to be.
We do the first and third Wednesday. So we're from like 7 to 8:30ish on the first and third Wednesday of the month.
Okay, twice a month.
Twice a month.
Okay, and that's mainly to look at some of the requests or to manage the financial part of it, or
Everything, but I think it's that, and it's also a little fellowship.
Yeah.
So you know, we'll have dessert, or we'll figure something out, or I might bring in a speaker. You know.
Oh well, have you met the Barbaras? The Barbaras are. I love me some Barbaras.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Shout out to you ladies, right?
Yeah.
I miss seeing them, and Kim told me what happened, so we're going to get them back in action and at the networking events, because they're like a great, testimonial to the organization and to the fellowship and the camaraderie.
Right. Yeah. I was waiting for you to say the fellowship part of it, because that's
well, no, that so that's part, and then there'll be business. People will bring up things, and there's we're getting requested to do all kinds of things all the time.
Right.
And then there's the ritual part, right? So there's a couple of things, and we'll say the pledge, and
Yeah. So Michael, I've known you a long time, and you've been just great philanthropic. We've done a lot of work together in the community for philanthropic work. It's probably one of Michael and our passion throughout the community. But why did you get involved in the Oddfellows?
That is so funny you ask. It is really weird. So doing philanthropic work, there was a radio ad. I think it only aired once, according to people I talked to, like for a short period of time. And I was looking for something to do. I was working for a financial firm, and I was looking for something to do. I had gotten to Mystic maybe a couple years before. I was in downtown Hartford before. And Oddfellows came up, and my accountant got me involved with MASH, which is now Always Home.
Always Home, yeah.
And we did a swing dance with 8 to the Bar.
Of course you did.
But this is a long time ago. This is pre me being on the board and all that stuff. And then at the exact same time, I heard this ad of Oddfellows right before Bruce Fielding asked me to get involved with.
Bruce Fielding.
Bruce, you remember Bruce?
Yeah, of course.
So right before he asked me, this ad was on the radio, and it sounded like nice people. And I wanted to get involved, and it's funny, I called the number on the ad.
They probably said, "Who is this person? Nobody calls us."
And I met with three people, two of which have actually passed.
Yeah. Because I know you've been involved a long time.
Yeah.
Because when I first met you, that was kind of like the Oddfellows, and then of course MASH. But that's been how many years?
So long enough for there to be an ad on the radio.
It's a long time. So,
yeah, it's a long time.
So let me just think.
They don't do the ad anymore, do they?
No,
it's just like.
What's funny is I mentioned it, nobody realized that nobody knew they had an ad. Like I don't. No,
someone didn't just shut up. Hi.
We had an ad. You did. I answered it.
Oh, I think it's divine. It's divine intervention.
I mean, you can't miss Mike. So he just doesn't come in and say, whatever. I mean, he's got to answer an ad.
Well, the timing was just like the timing was really good. Isn't that funny? I know the timing.
That's
was really
hilarious.
That's
Michael.
Kismet. I love it.
Yeah, and since I've been involved, there's been never a radio ad. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, that's hysterical. That you never know with your journey where you'd lead to.
If your radio is even on, that's what I'm thinking. His radio wasn't even on. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's right. It was just the voice.
It was just
there
the
was
voice.
no ad. That's right.
That's that divine intervention that we talk about.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I'm there. I'm absolutely there.
Michael, we only have a few minutes, so I want to make sure that we get out whatever else it is that you would like to speak about.
Do you have some upcoming events that anybody, the public, can come to, or anything that you guys might want to?
The next meeting.
Oh, you're going to be at the Fall Fest. Or you were at the Fall Fest. How great that was.
Yes.
Because, yeah.
This
show airs,
it's going to air. Right.
Yeah.
It's going to air afterwards. Right. Yeah, well, the next meeting, we're going to have part of it. I can't think of a completely open meeting that's coming up right in the near future, but thanks for the request.
Yeah. And are you going to continue on?
Yeah.
Call as...
No, this is good.
As the Noble Grand, do you?
I'm going to probably not be the Noble Grand. I'd like somebody else to be Noble Grand, but I will continue as an Oddfellow. It's good to rotate, and I've been Noble Grand for a long time.
Is there a competition or King of the Hill or?
No, not
I mean,
at all.
I'm kind of joking, obviously.
I think what happens is I've been in it for a very long time, and there are positions in Odd Fellowship for the state, and you need to have been a Noble Grand to get into those positions.
Right.
So I just want to make room for other people to come through so that we
Sure.
can have other people get involved with
Right.
the state organization.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, that's the same thing as on the police side of it too. Is when you're a police commissioner, and then you have to serve a certain as a chair, not just a commissioner. You have to serve on a higher level, and then from that it has to be certain. Then you go on to a sort of a state, not sort of as a state.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the state organization is the governance of Fairview.
Right. So
if
I
see
see.
how that
right.
goes.
That's kind of the whole.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I've been the Noble Grand for a very long time, and we thought it would be good if we just rotate in yearly, and just have other Noble Grands come in so that more people can get involved with the state.
Right. So how many people usually show up at a meeting at the lodge?
We're between, I would say, 15 and 25. Which is pretty healthy.
That's pretty healthy for a first, and so you meet twice a month.
Twice a month, and we've grown.
Yeah.
So I remember.
It's the barber.
Yes.
Here's a neat thing. We used to take. First of all, we had maybe 10 to 12 people that show up regularly, and now we're between 15 and 25, which is good. And I would say on average it's probably 18.
Okay.
That's probably on a typical night. It's probably 18 people. But what's really neat is we used to take the entire summer off.
Yeah.
People don't want to do it. So we meet once in July and once in August because people don't want to go a whole month. It's cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
it's
Well,
pretty
you
cool.
obviously, I think you have a very healthy lodge. Your mission and what you do as an Oddfellow is second to none. I mean, as far as the philanthropic and also what you do for the community and also in Arizona. But I think part of it, to be honest with you, Michael, is your leadership as well. So thank you for that, and thank you for all you do.
Yes, well done, sir.
Yeah, well done. You'll have to come back on.
There's a lot of people do a lot of work.
Well, there is, and I know that too.
It doesn't get done without all the different components.
You're absolutely
like
right.
the notes I'm looking at. Those
I know.
And everybody does different stuff, and it's neat. And when everybody's doing something different, you get a lot of stuff done. So.
And that's when you can move mountains.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
you work as a team.
Yep.
But anyways, Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Kristin. Thank you
Thank you,
very
Michael.
much. We got to have Michael back on again and talk about. When you see him back on again, we'll make sure we distinguish between the hats he wears in the community. That's important. But thank you very much. We've got Spencer in the back that's taking care of us. And just a little shout out to him, too, because he's done a great job for Mystic Matters. But we are Mystic Matters, and with the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Don't forget our membership drive, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Great, thanks.